Hello, everybody. My name is James Leggett, and today I'm doing another interview to promote the City's Hours, a series which I edited an episode of. And do you want to introduce yourself, guest?
Hi, I'm David Spain. I'm a screenwriter and I worked on episodes 1, 2, 3, and 12 of The City's Hours.
Okay. Question one: how did you get into screenwriting?
So I'd been interested in writing since I was a kid. So I started out with kind of prose and stories because that's how you get taught at school. And then I kind of started thinking I loved watching movies, so about from age 10, I kind of started looking into how people write films. I was into drama, so I started writing scripts like that. And then I learned a few years later on, oh no, you've got to do screenplays this way. And I just got super into it and kept writing them. And I think it was did an MA which involved screenwriting as well. And then shortly after finished my PhD in creative writing and started just connecting with people through the different sites. And then it's just sort of grown from there. So that's basically the kind of journey into it.
Okay. Question two: how tough was COVID in your career?
It's kind of strange because, weirdly, because I started getting into writing seriously during COVID, that kind of intersects with the career sort of growing. So I live with my cousin, who is also a writer. And because obviously there's nothing to do, we're staying in the house, we started chatting and thinking, oh, we should start writing stuff together. And so we wrote a sort of stage play, and then we started writing movies together. And that was also what kind of gave me the push to kind of go out and contact people. We'd entered things at the competitions, they came back to do it and seemed to do quite well. So that kind of gave me the push to reach out. And because obviously it's during COVID, people obviously were kind of pushed to work remotely more. And that kind of widened the sort of like circle of people who you were able to then work with. And I think that's kind of led to more people being open to working remotely. So it's strange that, yeah, COVID wasn't, it don't know if it had a positive effect on the career, but it was kind of sheltered from the negatives as much as it possibly could be. So a bit of a strange case there, I think, but I'm sure some people will also have kind of gone through that same thing if they were entering the industry at that stage.
Okay. Question three: what's easier, writing a short film or a feature film?
So I think it's different for everybody. For me, writing a feature film is something I'm way more familiar with. I only recently, like in the last couple of years, really seriously started watching short films. I find it a lot more difficult to kind of get that sort of narrative arc that you're looking for in sort of like 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So it's only been recently I worked on a horror anthology with sort of Smoggy Productions. And that was the first time I'd really had to push myself to go, okay, I need to get the story done in approximately 15 pages. And so, yeah, I'd say for me, it's shorter films. I'm sure other people have the reverse. I'm just so much more used to writing feature length stuff. But, short films allow you to do things that feature films may not allow you to do. And because there's that kind of urgency of it's got to be done in a certain amount of time, I think you get to the heart of it. So, yeah, short films are harder, but there's definitely stuff in there that I really enjoy getting to work with.
Okay. Question four: favorite script you wrote?
So the favorite one at the moment, it's always kind of shifting around. It's something I'm working on with somebody else who worked on The City's Hours. I'm not sure if you came across him, Rudy Kidd.
Not yet.
All right, so he's one. I think he was one of the producers for it, but he approached me with an idea for something he wanted to write, and it's kind of a sad comedy where sort of two homeless men break into someone's house to cook themselves dinner, and then the occupant arrives back, and it's from what unfolds there. And it was the first kind of thing I'd been sent where I thought I really want to write this. Like even the basic concept, it seems like there's a lot of opportunities for it. But what I love the most about it is he gave the kind of idea that he wanted to go with and gave a list of things that he kind of wanted to happen, but it was still so open. And because I was kind of going into it with what somebody else wanted, but also without a kind of major plan, I think it's become, with it being a drama script as well, kind of the most personal thing I've written, which is odd when I've written it for somebody else who had the initial idea. So there's a lot of kind of my life experiences in there. Some of the stories that get told during it are ones pretty much verbatim I heard from my dad growing up. And it's just kind of dealt with sort of, my hopes, things that I'm afraid of as well. So I think I came out of it thinking, yeah, it's the most personal thing I've ever written. So I think that's the reason it is my favorite. So hopefully the final draft's done. I've sent it to Rudy, so hopefully soon we'll be able to get that off the ground. So I'm really excited for the possibilities for that one.
Okay. Question 5. Favorite writing experience?
So possibly it was Two Homeless Men again, but to give a different one. So as I've said, my cousin Joseph and I both kind of write things together, and we wrote a sort of horror comedy, which is kind of called Homecoming, and that is kind of Kill Bill meets The Wicker Man in terms of, they've got cult activity going on, but at the same time, you've got someone taking these people who live in this remote village down at the same time. And I think it was a funny situation because I'm very, very into horror. My cousin isn't, unless I'm forcing him to watch horror stuff, which has happened a good deal of the time, especially during COVID. But he had such a great understanding of what would make horror situations funny. So the fact that we were writing a script and frequently kind of bursting out laughing and coming up with ideas and cracking each other up, that's the one that I've done that it just felt the least like work. Like we had a plan going into it. We had some of the jokes thought out, but we'd be writing stuff and just coming up with things bouncing off each other. So it's definitely the easiest script I've ever written, and probably the one that came the quickest as well. So that's definitely ranking up there as the best writing experience.
Okay. Question 6. Worst writing experience?
So it's an interesting one. It's weird to say it's the worst. It's definitely the most difficult I've ever done. So this was the PhD in creative writing, and I think that's always going to be a really tough thing right from the start, because obviously the idea is while writing fiction, you're expected to contribute new knowledge. I was writing political fiction, and I had so many things of, there's not going to be a murder in it, there's not going to be an affair in it, because that's just kind of a cheap way to put some thrills in. I'm going to make it real political fiction, without sort of realizing there's no such thing. There's always an affair. There's always a murder. I got halfway through a book with really high hopes and then realized, oh, right, someone's just killed and had an affair in about this chapter. So Andrew Marr really screwed me over on that one. But I think, that was also, so that was going to be hard on the offset. And I had a plan going in for this novel. And the plan involved Britain staying in the EU and that not really featuring. So I woke up the day after the vote with messages from my supervisor going, so what are you going to do about this? Which is a hell of a thing to get asked about Brexit. So it was a very interesting experience. I've never been more stressed out than when actually doing it. Really rewarding, but there are a lot of nights that I did go to sleep going, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, which probably meant I had a lot in common with people in politics at the time, but it was not the most relaxing or enjoyable thing I've ever written. So that's definitely up there as the most difficult.
Okay. Question 7. In terms of the screenplays that have been produced, which ones are you satisfied with and which ones are you not satisfied with?
So the ones that I've done that have been produced. At the moment, working on, I think the two that I've kind of seen like bits of. So the both ones coming out. One is something called Mother's Legacy, and that's a horror, and that got kind of taken from the 15-minute idea I mentioned earlier. And that got sort of expanded into a 45-minute piece, and that's being made by Smoggy Films. So that I've seen just kind of clips of it. I've seen the promotional materials. I was on set for some of the time there as well. And I think that's something I'm just incredibly satisfied with. Like, partially it's really seeing how much work goes into getting even like 10 seconds of film, people kind of working it out, and seeing how seriously everybody else took it, like the actors, the lighting people, the director of photography. So that even the small bits I've seen, I am so excited for, because it just looks absolutely stellar. That's coming out in October. And similar situation with The City Is Ours. It's not out yet. I have seen clips. I've seen pictures behind the scenes. I've also been lucky enough to be on set and made 2 very brief cameo appearances in one of the episodes, I think episode 2. And again, just kind of seeing the quality of acting, the direction, the amount of kind of experience that was involved with all of that. Yeah, like, so I've not had the opportunity to see either sort of on the screen, but I'm just by what I've seen, I've been blown away by how good it's all looking and it's coming together. So fingers crossed, but I'm feeling really optimistic about both of them.
Question 8. How did you become involved with the City's Hours?
So there are various kind of websites that you can use to kind of link up with people. So Star Now, Backstage, and I think the Mandy Network, the three that I've been using most of all. And it was on either Star Now or Backstage. I was looking for sort of other work to do. I'd met one kind of filmmaker through Star Now already. And I think it would have been Star Now that I saw Carl had placed an advert on, saying that they were looking for writers and creatives and anybody to get involved with this project. It mentioned, that it was crime fiction. It mentioned it was set in the North. And instantly, I was very keen to be a part of that. It sounded really interesting. And as soon as he kind of had a chat and he sent some of the material over, I was completely hooked. So, yeah, it was just kind of looking at the different jobs, and that one really jumped out. And yeah, really, really happy that I came on board for it.
Okay. Question 9. How easy was it to write The City's Hours?
I think I probably had the easiest time compared to other people because I had episodes 1, 2, and 3. So I had a rough idea of where the story's going, but it meant I kind of got to get in there first and say, and we knew what some of the characters were like, but you kind of get to put your own stamp on it, and other writers kind of waiting for your material to come in so they can read it and go, oh, okay, so it's got to fit with this. So the first 3 episodes were really quite easy. Episode 12, which was the finale, that was quite a bit harder because obviously you've got all the kind of things that the other writers have put in, and it's following that through line really well. But they've done things like they've mentioned sort of like certain quirks of character, like given people certain elements that you really want to explore, but you're also looking at the script and thinking, right, similar to the short film problem, I've got to fit all of this into the finale and also finish the story and bring it all in. So the finale was quite a difficult episode to do. That went through quite a few rewrites before I dared show it to Carl. But it was difficult. I think sort of reading it through that last time before I sent it, I'm really happy with it. So, hopefully it comes out okay on the screen. But so I think definitely not the hardest one I've done. And especially with 3/4 of it being right at the beginning, that was almost like writing a kind of mini crime film. So that really played to what I'm used to. So yeah, I think it was overall a fairly easy experience.
Okay. Question 10. Any dream films that you would love to make that haven't been made yet?
So this also is something that came about due to COVID. Don't know how we started doing it. I think Netflix just had a bunch of them on. We started watching, me and my housemate, started watching teen movies. So Sierra Burgess is a Loser, Tall Girl, Dumpling, The Kissing Booth probably. And we just it was just a hate watch, just to something to really dislike. And we kept making jokes throughout. And all these kind of jokes sort of came together. And we sort of realized, what we should do? We should just write our own teen movie. And we started doing that. And we kept giving it the kind of like Airplane, Not Another Teen Movie style treatment of just making it wackier and wackier. So you've got all these kind of background gags. Halfway through the movie, you find out that the sort of best friend who's in high school is hunting aliens for the government. And it just got crazier and crazier. And the aliens they're hunting are the kind of like 3 popular girls in the school. So they've kind of got to act as the popular girls, but they're also aliens who are trying to take over the world. And I think that project, it would be so difficult to do, just in terms of the funding, how you'd pull it off. But I think it's also some of our absolute best jokes in there, just because there's such freedom to go absolutely off the wall with things. So I think we said that's our absolute, just kind of like wish fulfillment project. If we could find somebody who was rich enough and crazy enough to make it, that would be the high point of our entire career. So one day there'll be a film like that. So hopefully we can get in on it. But I think that's a long way off, but it's the dream.
I mean, have you tried BFI? I know they have funding for feature films.
It's definitely worth a try. So yeah, we'll look into it. But I think we got so ingrained in the whole thing of this is the craziest thing we've ever written. So, if it ever sees the light of day, hopefully other people would like it. But just just writing it gave us a lot of enjoyment, which I think during lockdown people did kind of need. So we'll always owe it that.
Yeah, I mean, for the description alone, I want this movie to exist. I mean, I saw Not Another Teen Film a few months back for the first time ever, and it was so much fun.
I mean, yeah, we both love that movie, and that was kind of the thing that almost the feeling like you got permission to write something like that, where it's like, well, they get to do all these incredible gags, just all the sort of stuff that they got to do with Chris Evans, and which sounds absurd now that he's Captain America, but yeah, like that movie existing in Airplane before it really made us feel like, yeah, no, we can totally write this. And then it's just a matter of finding someone who reads it and goes, yeah, this needs to exist. So, which I think for a lot of screenwriters with their own projects, that's the major thing. I've been really fortunate in that regard. I've worked with people who are very kind of open to doing different stuff. This one, as we say, funding wise, could be tough, but yeah, there's hope.
Right. Have you ever directed before?
No, I think especially it's been sort of hammered in while watching. So obviously seeing Carl direct things. I've also, as I said, been on set with Smoggy Productions, and that had Mark Spain directing. I think, yeah, I really got the sense that there's so much that goes into that. I'd love to do it at some point, or just be on set and direct for like a few days worth of shooting. But I have kind of got some material to sort of read about, and then also watching quite a few instructional things. But it's something I'd like to do. It's something I also feel like I'm a long way off from being prepared for. So learning about directing and rest of filmmaking just kind of started as I wanted to be a screenwriter who was easy to work with in terms of the stuff I wrote wasn't going to be this mad thing that they'd never be able to do. And so I want to understand what other people on the set go through. But it has turned into, I'd love to, be able to make the calls on what things are going to look like and what needs to happen. So I think, again, that's a long way off, but it's something I would be really interested in doing.
Okay, well, thanks for your time and stuff. Hopefully by the time you see this interview, Audience, the City of Owls will be out, so wave goodbye to the camera and stuff.
Bye. Well, it's been great. Thank you very much.